anime is one of the greatest things to ever come from this planet. And that's saying a lot since everything has kind of gone to shit. It is truly one of the biggest masterpieces to have ever been created. It's phenomenal. Whether you have an obsession with watching shonen anime, slice of life, romance, mecha, or even harem, control your loss. And to think that people in school would really clown you for watching it. They were just jealous that you were on to witness a peak. They hated it. But the point is that anime comes in many different shapes and forms to where anybody could get into it, giving you some of the best fights that you've ever seen, that you could even compare to some of the best shonen movies, the craziest plot twists that can go band for band with ones in TV shows, or even just the transformations taking over and literally breaking the internet. It's gas. There's a lot I can yap and say about anime, as it really just is that life-changing. And with anything popular around the world, leading to there being hundreds of thousands of different anime being made that are some of the greatest that they've ever seen. I'm talking about it can make your top 10 low-key. Which is what I'm here to talk about. Today, my people, I wanted to bring up some of the most underrated animes that I've ever seen that are just straight up cold. And hopefully with what I share with you today, you can just go sit your fowls down and get to binging it. So without wasting any more time, let's jump into the first pick of the video. One of the best shonen animes to ever exist that nobody, and I mean nobody, talks about enough. The one, the only, Katekyo Hitman Reborn was one of the most generational animes to have come out in the early 2000s. This shit right here is what you call amazing. When it was still getting released, I can say you could put up against the goats like Naruto, Bleach, One Piece. It was up there back in the day. If you haven't seen it or never heard anything about this anime, picture it like this. If you like anything that has to do with the mafia, like The Sopranos or Goodfellas, or even that one shoe from Zootopia that keeps saying Isom, then combine it with random anime bullshit and powers, then you would love Hitman Reborn, man. It's crazy. So go ahead and break down the story. Hitman Reborn is about a kid named Sushi. Get Sushi because his name is Suna, like Tuna Arm and stuff. It follows the story of a student named Suna who meets a baby hitman named Reborn. And Reborn's job is to tutor, train, develop this kid into the 10th generation mafia boss of the Vongola family. Since Suna is a descendant of the first mafia boss, Vongola Primo. And they're just trying to keep it in the family, man. But I'm not gonna lie here, the start of this anime is boring. Trash. In fact, most anime that came out in like the early 2000s has the most boring first 20 to 30 episodes. They're procrastinating. They just delayed the story from jump. Bleach's start was boring as hell until Byakuya came in and knocked out Ichigo. One Piece got ahead of slow start too. Naruto actually has one of the best starts in anime. He learned Shadow Clone Jutsu from day one. That shit was peak. But once you struggle past the first 20 episodes of this anime, it goes from being a light-hearted comedy show to niggas getting packed, jumped, bleeding out, and put in the hospital. The action gets crazy. The Katekyo arc, in which you're introduced to mafia members acting as middle school kids, jumping a bunch of students and Suna's friends to find them, with their leader being a guy who broke out of a high security prison, Mukuro, who can make illusions and take over people's bodies, who by the end of the arc gets into a scrap with Suna, where he reveals his first transformation. And this shit was gas, using the X-Gloves for the first time to defeat him. He smoked him here. And then we get into the Varia arc, and shit gets serious here, where a top assassin group from Vongola came to jump Suna and demand them for their rings so their leader could become head of the Vongola family, leading to them going under a huge training arc to fight these guys, which eventually build up to some of the best fights in the entire show, like Gokudera vs Bell, Yamamoto vs Squalo, or even just Suna vs Zanzas. And my guy just freezes his flames. The anime just progressively jumps up in story, abilities, characters, and just becomes way better. Like Suna eventually learns his signature move, X Burner, which is some whole Iron Man shit, where he's using one side of the flames to support himself whilst dealing a huge blast to finesse people. It's mad. And then right after this, we're introduced to the final and best arc of the show, the future arc. It's a chef's kiss, man, I'm telling you. When everybody travels 10 years in the future to fight a family hunting down the Vongola family, they start using things like box weapons, which are a bunch of pets that could turn into crazy shit. Like Suna has a whole pet lion that turns into a flipping cloak, thinking he's Doctor Strange with this shit. And him waking up in a coffin for a time skip is one of the best ideas ever done. This shit was peak. I'll be honest, I don't remember a lot from Katekyo Hitman Reborn, considering the last time I saw this was when I was like 10. But all these little moments and memories that come back to me just make me realize that this piece of pure entertainment was so ahead of its time. Like, I can't think of a more drippy power system than the flipping 7 dying wolf flames of the sky. Look at their rings! The different flames they all had, the different colors, the shit they could do with half of their powers. If you had to take this and compare it to other power systems and most that are made today, like Shikai's from Bleach with Renji's, come on, bro, you know this is way better. They had mad fashion as well. The drip was beyond. I genuinely think the reason why this anime wasn't as popular as others coming out at the time was because A, it didn't have an English dub, and B, it was going band for band with shows like Naruto, One Piece, and Bleach. so it's probably a little bit unmatched. But hands down, this anime is the greatest hidden gem to ever exist. Look, I've never seen this anime get enough love. From the openings, to the story, to the fights, to the characters. My goat Lambo. But this deadass needs the Full Metal Alchemist treatment. Because if they could come back and animate the rest of the manga, oh man, it's peak. If you haven't seen Hitman Reborn, go watch it, man. It's amazing. And wait, huh? No, wait, do my eyes deceive me? Wait, ladies and gentlemen, at the time of recording this, Hitman Reborn is getting a reboot. Oh my god, I used to pray for times like this to rhyme like, I can't. Yo, Noragami is one of those shows that you low-key feel like you have deja vu about it. Cause I can't remember shit. Trying to reminisce about what happens in this anime feels like a fever dream. I low-key forgot it even existed and then had an epiphany remembering how tough it was. And it was just the shit back in the day. Noragami is that one show that no one remembers, but if you were to go back to it, you would realize that it was just straight fire. Noragami is set in a world where negative emotion like jealousy, rage, or just crash out behavior manifests into beings called phantoms. It's kind of similar to JJK and their curses. And these phantoms only have one objective: to keep causing pain and fueling that negativity onto humans. And some of the only people that can see these phantoms are animals and babies. They get traumatized from this. In the first episode, we're introduced to our main character, Yato, a god who wishes to become one of the most praised and to one day build a shrine with all his fame. And this guy is broke. God damn, he ain't got no money. He's broken than me, and I say something because I eat raw bread. But the man literally works for 5 yen. 5 yen is 2p in England. That's infinite times lower than the national wage. This guy has no money. Not to mention he carries it in a giant liquor bowl. He's struggling. He's never gonna make it. After the first fight, Yato's regalia, which is a spirit that can become a weapon, decides to leave him because he's a bomb. Switch up on your day ones, man. Eventually, we meet a girl named Hiyori, who's interested in combat sports and likes to fight people. She gets run over. After a fight with a giant toad phantom, Yato explains that Hiyori's body is slipping in and out of consciousness. That with her being able to split out of a spirit version of her body and her actual body, it's the way it's gonna be from now on. She's cooked. Yato eventually goes on to looking for another regalia, since they're the only way you can take down phantoms, which then leads the story into introducing Yukine. And Yukine? He has a hard life, man. Becoming a regalia meant he became a spirit. Or in other words, he died at a young age, and throughout the rest of the 12 episodes in the first season, we just see Yukine go through his struggles and trying to accept the fact that he's dead and didn't get to live a normal life. And then he just starts bugging out. He goes to school and starts finessing the windows with a baseball bat, starts stealing skateboards and money, and just started moving like a delinquent because he could, which in turn affected Yato. Since regalias and gods are linked, meaning whatever bad and selfish acts Yukine committed earlier would fall back on Yato, causing him to go through immense pain and giving him something called blight, which is like getting an infection that's hard to get rid of. As much as this anime is full of a bunch of jokes and unserious moments, like a guy literally yeets himself off a building because he got played by the god of poverty. She was making you broke, leave her be. But the story and deeper dives into some of the characters are decent. Like Yato, before he became this little joker, was a god of war. I hate slaying people, killing regalias. And to imagine this is the same guy now is kinda mad. And Yukine, struggling to come to terms with that he's a dead kid, with no other purpose than to be a regalia, a weapon to destroy phantoms over and over again, never having the luxury of a family, friends, PSPs, going to school, or just the comfort of what being his age would have amounted to, is relatable in a way. And it's no wonder that Yukine decided to smash all that stuff in the middle of the season. Because if I was in Yukine's shoes, I mean, shit, being a ghost like that is probably cool, man. Everything's for free. But Noragami brings so much different elements to it, and it's only 12 episodes. I'm only talking about the first season since I don't remember a lot from the second. Maybe it's worth a rewatch. But I used to glaze this anime heavy growing up. I thought it was just a cool side thing you could binge while waiting for the next episode of One Piece. I mean, these were the times when I was watching anime religiously. I'm saying 5-hour streaks on non-stop back-to-back 20-minute episodes. I was marathoning it. Noragami is just a must-watch. The story, the fighting, the comedy aspect, the characters, it's just all there, man. Watch the anime. I know you're not doing nothing, bro. Watch it, it's peak. As a young man who used to make millions of different emails so I could get a free PlayStation Plus every time, I know what it's like to be a scammer. And this anime exactly shows the type of person I am. Great Pretender might have been one of the greatest things to have ever come out in lockdown. This show is genuinely more appealing to watch than most anime that comes out today. When it's down to the art style, the personalities, or the whole gang shit that happens every now and then, this anime is peak. It was beyond. If you've never heard of or don't know Great Pretender, it's basically an anime about a bunch of con artists swindling big bads and jacking all their money. Like, if you're a person who used to binge watch Nickelodeon movies, if you remember one of the greatest movies on there, Swindle, It's basically Swindle, but an anime. It's great. Great Pretender follows the story of a kid named Makoto Edamura, who was a swindler back in Japan, who scammed people to cop water filters, even though there was no need to even get them in the first place. The water filters don't work. Eventually, Edamura comes across a traveling tourist in Japan named Lauren, who is also a con artist, and gets Edamura to come with him and work alongside his crew to scam big evil rich people out of their money. With the first guy, who by day is a movie producer, working hard on creating the next Interstellar movies, helping out with the cast, and just in general, making a huge improvement and positive impact on the entertainment industry. And then by night, he's a drug dealer. It's kind of like Gustavo Fring. The team of con artists basically just make their way and infiltrate his organization using a bunch of lies and deception, using the fact that Makoto's from Japan to say he's some big chemical manufacturer there to sell drugs. Walter White type shit, which aren't drugs at all and is just some random Japanese branded candy. Which surprisingly works and gets one of the girls to move crazy. But wait, it turns out that the girl that moved crazy was also a con artist and is in on the scam. She just infiltrated the drug overlords group and was just overreacting to sell that these candies actually got some magical dust in them, you feel me? Eventually, the drug boss is convinced that these actually work and is willing to buy the candies they have on hand plus the recipe for $100 million. That's a lot of money, man. Getting Edamura to make the drugs in front of him so they know it's legit. But wait, the FBI jumps the scene and starts holding these men at gunpoint and start moving crazy, leading to them killing Lauren and Abby, the other two con artists, which then gets Edamura to hold one of the FBI agents at gunpoint to get himself and one of the bodyguards he was staying with out of there safely. Then the whole factory blows up. Edamura eventually chases up to the boss who caused the explosion in the first place, with them eventually getting picked up by the FBI, and then the boss pays off the lead agent in charge for $100 million. You see what happened there? The woman was also a con artist the entire time. See, I'm not gonna lie to you, the twists that happen in this anime are crazy. So by the end of the first case, you find out that the whole thing has been planned since Edamura came into contact with Lauren back in Japan. The old lady he scammed with the water filter, she was a con artist who even recommended Edamura to Lauren in the first place. His best friend he used to run cons with in Japan was also in on it, getting Edamura and Lauren to cross paths. The woman who posed as a lady named Paula Dickens was actually a woman named Cynthia who was acting as an FBI agent with a bunch of fake workers to put off the drug boss, with her eventually jacking his money. So when he got arrested and started asking around for the real Paula Dickens, she was not the same person. It was on fire planning. It was crazy. And Abby? It's fine as hell. I just want to bring that up. But for the whole show, that's basically how it runs. And the whole planning towards scamming the big rich guys they're finessing is gas. The jazz music they play constantly throughout the show, and at the end of every episode where they just did some cold shit, gas. The whole vibe of the anime, gas. Like, it's so mad that this didn't become a mainstream, because I'm telling you right now, this shit is a hidden gem. When it comes to heist TV shows and movies, they ain't really my thing. The only type of movie I've seen like this is Snatch, which is sick as hell if you haven't seen that either. But Great Pretender is an anime you literally jump into and it's already amazing. The story gets better in the first season over time, with it breaking into characters' backstories of how they even became con artists. They pull off even more crazier shit, but I'll be real though, the first case is probably the best one, because all the stuff that happens in there is the most least unexpected. You wouldn't see it coming. And all in all, it's just a 9 out of 10 show. If you haven't seen it, get to know. There's even a joke YouTube video from it that has 24 million views. That should be enough for you to get to watch it. But hey, these were some anime I think are truly amazing and definitely need to be given a chance. If you man got any more you think others should watch, or disagree with any of the 3 I mentioned, comment down below, man. I appreciate all the support each and every one of you give me. I hope you have a blessed day, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.